we're going to take this live craw, we're going to try to make a mold out of this. The challenging thing, which you can see I've done before if you've seen my other videos. So the hard part about this bait is the legs. Dealing with those little legs. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to cut the legs off one of these. And then I'm going to pour the bait. This is going to be an injection mold. And then I'm going to carve the legs out. I'm going to move over here where I can see. I'm pretty sure this bait would fish just fine with no legs at all. But I like the legs. When you leave the legs in here, you can see the plastic, it can get stuck in there. And it's not so much sticking to the mold as it's sticking in the mold, because these channels aren't true and smooth. This one here actually goes under. The plastic goes under the plaster because the leg fell in and the plaster rolled on top of it. So when you go to separate it, the legs don't want to come out smooth. So I'm just going to try to make them, I'm just going to try to cut them in myself, and we'll see how that goes. I think I'll just do one at a time for the experiment. And I'm going to have to get some more plaster and whatnot. And that cup isn't ready to go, so we'll use another cup. So this is just a random cup that I grabbed out of the cupboard when the wife wasn't looking. And so I measured out 2 cups and I just marked it on there. So I know there's 2 cups in there. And I'm going to go get some cold water out of the fridge. Found some cold water and some hot coffee. So there you go with that. Talk about sidetracked. When I'm mixing my plaster, I don't use the same end of the... I probably will someday, but I don't right now. I try to keep that plaster clean, especially on the upper half of a 2-part mold, because those are the hardest to do. Trying to get that top section to come out just right, it's pretty challenging. I think we're going to have to throw out that fish and do it again. We'll take a look at it here in a minute. I hope you can see me on the GoPro. I really like the GoPro. I've used it a couple of times for other videos. Nothing that I've posted, I don't believe. It works pretty good. The only thing is I don't have the display that goes on the back, so I can't tell what field of view I'm shooting at. The field of view is so big though, it's pretty hard to miss. Now when I actually take a look at this video, probably the top half of my head will be missing. So that'll shoot that theory. But anyways, this is just practice. I use the same amount of goop. Don't really care. My main concern is just seeing how these legs are going to come out. I'm going to let that sit a minute, let the bubbles work out of it. See if we can get some bubble action here. Because if you've done this before, you already know about the bubble action. So I'm trying to settle those out. Oh, I got lots in there now. Okay, let's give this a stab. Well, we only have one, so let's just put it right in the middle. When you're working with multiple appendages, spin this around to see the hard part. When you're working with multiple appendages, the hard part is getting them all to lay in there independently so they're not touching each other. These antennae are also hard to deal with. You don't want them getting under the plaster. You want them just to float on top. When they get under the plaster, when you inject the bait, what happens? Well, the plastic goes in, it completes the bait, but the problem is you can't pull it out. You'll tear off the antenna. So now, once I'm pretty happy with things, which I am, this one actually went in real good. Not messing with those legs makes this a lot easier. I'm just trying to get a good parting line in there. I want to get all my details. But when I do the top half is tricky because you have these eyes, and those eyes do get stuck in the plaster no matter what you do. I could probably cut those off, and only I would know the difference. Okay, so now we're just going to let this one set up for the first part, and then we can do the second half of it.